How to influence customers to buy from you. So the goal of this workshop is to learn how to influence and why it's so important to lead generation. And here's what we'll cover: how customers make choices, how you can use extra options to immediately increase sales, and how to construct the extra options in an offer for maximum effect. There's a simple but effective sales technique that you can use to influence customers to buy from you where they might not have otherwise. It's quick and easy to apply, and it just involves knowing a little about psychology of choice. How customers make purchasing decisions. So the essence of decision making is comparison. People compare the options in front of them and choose the one that seems like the best fit with their current means, needs, and wants. What they're thinking is it worth buying this? How much do I need it? Is it good value? And of course, when it comes to choosing what to buy, the option not to buy anything is always on the table. Remember that. As somebody trying to make a sale, you obviously want that not to be at the forefront of your customers' minds. So let's include strategic options. By including strategic extra options in your sales offer, you can encourage customers to think differently about the choice to buy. If you only offer a single product, then the customer is looking at that product and deciding whether or not they want to buy it or not. When you have two products, that shifts the customer's thought process to something more like, which one would I rather buy? Which is a better product? Which is offering better value for money? This immediately increases the likelihood that they'll buy from you. So why extra options can make people buy? When a customer looks at a single product for sale, they're weighing up the benefits of that product against the cost of buying it. They're considering whether they need it in their life and whether it's worth that price. Unless they have an obvious burning need for that item or service, it's relatively easy to say no and walk away from the sale. But bringing in a second option changes the equation enormously. It creates comparison between those two options rather than between one option and nothing. So suddenly it means your potential customer is weighing up the relative merits of two things they might buy from you. Of course, they might still walk away without buying anything, but having two options makes them considerably more likely to buy something. That's not the end of it though. So turns out three options, like we've discussed before, are actually better than two. Think back to contrast pricing. So people find it easier to make a decision between three options than between just two. This is partially because having two options makes people feel there's a right and a wrong choice. And having three options seems to remove that pressure and make it easier to pick one. So if two options are better than one and three options are better than two, does that mean that more choices means more sales? Well, not necessarily. So having three options seems to be the sweet spot for making the most of this effect, but you can introduce more if it makes sense for your business to have more product options available. But please remember cognitive load and overwhelm. Just bear in mind there is such a thing as too many options. Too many can produce cognitive load and the brain cannot process too many things at once. Therefore, the customer may become overwhelmed. Overwhelmed customers generally don't make decisions. A study's results. So there was a study by Sheena Liangar, I think that's how you pronounce it, at Columbia University, who used jam samples to test whether customers were more drawn to a greater number of choices. So people walking past a grocery store were offered samples of either 6 or 24 different jam flavors. And the researchers kept records of how many people stopped and how many people bought jams. They found that while the greater selection of 24 flavors meant more people stopped to try them, more people actually went through with a purchase when there were fewer options on display. Interesting. So on 6 jam days, 30% of customers who stopped bought jam. With 24 to choose from, only 3% of the customers who stopped made a purchase. So what does this tell us? So having dozens of options might look appealing from the outside, but when a customer is actually trying to make a decision, it quickly becomes overwhelming. It's too difficult to compare the relative merits of all of the choices on display, and it becomes easier to walk away and abandon the choice altogether. Choosing between 3 options is great. Choosing between 6 is doable, but once you get up to something like 24, the whole thing just feels too overwhelming. Don't do that to your customers. Bear in mind, and where possible, limit the options you're presenting to 3. Of course, even knowing that 3 options gives you the greatest shot at making a sale, you don't want to just chuck 3 random options in front of your customers and hope for the best. Remember the strategic approach. So let's take a look at how you can structure the options you present to really make the most of this effect and maximize your sales. Planning your choices to influence customers. So one of the nice things about 3 options is the convenient middle ground you create. People like the idea of getting good value for money in their shopping, but also coming away with something nice. You can appeal to this sense of compromise in the way you set up the 3 options you put in front of your customers. So let's start by looking at your highest priced option, your biggest offer. You want to make your biggest offer outrageous, but remember, not too outrageous, just outrageous enough. It should be the most luxurious, the most all-inclusive, and the highest price by this most significant margin you can think you can get away with. Planning your choices to influence customers. So one of the nice things about 3 options is the convenient middle ground you create. People like the idea of getting good value for money in their shopping, but also coming away with something nice. You can appeal to this sense of compromise in the way you set up the 3 options you put in front of customers. So if you're looking to sell your course on writing screenplays, your top of the line option might include a video chat with you as the course creator, a luxury leather bound personal notebook, and a premium pen with course branding. Or a branded travel mug, a motivational poster, access to an exclusive online workshop where you will critique some of the members' work so far, and of course, the course materials. Your top of it. Whatever it is that you think you're selling, think about how you could take it above and beyond the product itself and set a price. Not completely out of step with what it's worth, to be clear, because you don't want to look like you're trying to scam people. But it's okay if you look at it and think, nobody's going to want to spend that kind of money. The price can be high and a little outrageous. Most people won't go for this, and that's okay. In fact, that's the point. However, some people are always going to be drawn to and prepared to pay for luxury. But you don't necessarily want to build your whole marketing strategy around just that segment of your audience. There will always be a small percentage of your audience who want the biggest and the best, so it's good to have something available to satisfy that. This is the option with the biggest profit margin, but you're not planning to sell many of these. Now that we've got your big ticket offer down, let's take a look at the smallest offer. Okay, so your lowest offer, you actually want to make this pretty weak. Pare down the product you offer to its absolute bare bones. In our screenplay writing course example, that might mean just the course videos and a PDF containing the worksheets. Work out a price you'd be happy to sell this at, and you've got your low offer. The main purpose of this is to provide a contrast with your middle offer, which is the most important one. The aim is to make your middle offer the most compelling. So this should obviously be the best value for money, and it is the one you want people to buy. The price for your middle offer should fall closer to the cheap offer rather than the expensive one, because the role of your expensive offer is to make the middle offer look far more reasonably priced. But what you include in your middle offer should have more in common with your expensive offer so that people can see they're getting a great deal. So this is about value. Again, returning to our screenplay course example, your middle offer might include the course videos and a printed booklet of the worksheet, as well as the PDF version. It might also include a canvas-bound branded notebook and pen set and access to the exclusive workshop. With this, customers are getting pretty much all of the practical benefit of the highest price offer, along with a couple of the fun perks, but for a significantly lower price. Now, people who previously would have bought the smallest option or no option at all will look at the compromise you present and choose the middle offer. And why wouldn't they? You've deliberately set it up to make the choice as obvious as possible. So, your homework: using your own products and services, come up with 3 packages you could offer to make use of the techniques outlined here for influencing customers to buy.